Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First off, I'd like to apologize for coming to you via some signal somewhere rather than being there in person with my wife, Katherine, and daughter Cleo, and our friend Martha. It's a place I'd love to have seen. I've never been there before, and I'm definitely there with you in spirit tonight. Lifetime Achievements Award always seemed a little daunting to me. It kind of portended the end of something, and I hope that's not the case here. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's not the intention anyway. But Andy McGlaglen. Andy McGlaglen is somebody I consider myself very fortunate to have crossed paths with a couple of different times in my life. The first time was 48 years ago when I was a student at the University of Oregon in Eugene, and Andy came to town on a film that was produced by a guy named Harold Hecht. It was a movie called The Way West, and I worked as an extra on the film. First time I'd ever been on a film set at all, and it was quite an experience. I remember quite distinctly Andy and his khaki outfit and his kind of, I believe, kind of a broad brimmed straw hat and a pair of dark glasses, kind of orchestrating this entire thing. And I remember being very impressed by this guy slouched in his director's chair. He looked very much like a character that could have been on either side of the camera. It was a very interesting experience. The film experience for me, I'm not sure was all that interesting because I didn't go with the company to the other side of the state after they'd moved away. But I remember vividly, being the way west. It was the beginning of a wagon train moving west from somewhere in Missouri, I suppose. And my particular function was to walk behind this wagon that Sally Fields was sitting on the tailgate of, and I remember getting very bored walking back and forth all day long for 3 days, basically doing the same thing while Kirk Douglas was up at the head of the train, kind of, hoorahing everybody to get going. Anyway, that was my introduction to Andrew. And it was my introduction in terms of seeing in person. I was also very aware of Andrew long before I got to Eugene or to California, because he directed, as I recall, the majority of, well, not the majority, but certainly a great percentage of the Gunsmokes with Jim Arness back in that day, of which I was an avid fan. So I knew Andy by name, if nothing else. Cut to 25 years later, maybe a little bit more. I ended up working with Andrew on a couple of movies for television in which I was the leading man. So I'd kind of gone the distance with him from, the beginning to where I was at the time that we were working together then, and it was quite a treat. I've been very fortunate to have had the career I've had, and one of the things I've always thought about this business is that, yeah, we're all lucky to be making movies, and particularly those of us that have, kind of been fortunate enough to be around for almost 50 years. And I think the thing that sticks with me more than roles or projects or anything else, it's the people that I've met along the way, and you get an opportunity to work with again. There's often the cases you go out with this band of gypsies and you make a film and you never see these people again, and that's always kind of a bittersweet part in the ways. But I really think it's the people that have made this business so much of a joy for me over the years. That and the fact that I'm doing what I wanted to do since I was a little kid and making a living at it. I can't thank you enough. The Friday Harbor Film Festival, I'd like to get up here someday in person and see what it's all about and see this San Juan country of which Andy spoke so, I don't know, he loved it. I don't need to tell you folks that because he was a part of your community and you're well aware of that. I wish I knew more about Andy and his past. I don't think I really talked about Andy, in terms of how he got started, but I suppose it was somewhere because of his dad, Victor, and I know that he came up through the ranks. I suspect that he did anyway, like his kids have, and it's I think anybody that's been there that long, as Andy was, and involved here on the island in the theatrical world, and coming up through television and making the numerous motion pictures that he did over the years, he touched a lot of people, and he had a great influence on a lot of people, including myself, and he entertained us, you know. And in the end, that's what we're all about. We're in the entertainment business. So Andy knew the game well, and I feel very fortunate to have crossed paths with him, and I'm deeply honored to receive this award, and I'm looking forward to seeing this salmon in person. And something else I want to say is that on some level, on some obscure level, it probably means nothing to me, anyone but myself, is that Andy actually introduced me to my wife in a movie called Shenandoah when I was just getting out of high school, I think, in Portland, Oregon, and I was quite smitten with this visage of this young woman on a film with this great hank of hair and a braid. And it wasn't until years later that I literally crossed paths with her, but thanks for that too, Andy. Thank you. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great evening and enjoy the festival. Bye-bye.